Hey everyone, this is Car Ray Rob, where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob, and we want to welcome you to our podcast, Hello Movies, My Old Friend. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. My old friend.
Yes, welcome everyone. As Rob said, this is another episode of Hello Movies, My Old Friend, where me and Rob are going to go watch a movie we haven't seen in years,
Long time.
but we remember loving or being really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we always said maybe high school. High school's the cutoff. But this movie
Which
that
is like 20 years for us, or a little
more, little more. Don't tell everybody
Yeah.
that. Jeez, Ray. Yeah. So long time. Needless to say, and that is exactly the movie we have picked today. Something we have not seen in, I'm gonna say, 30 years.
Probably
30
right.
years. So as everybody knows, late 80s, early 90s, there was just a massive string of martial arts movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they were everywhere. Jean-Claude Van Damme
Yep, it was getting
movies.
big.
Rumble in the Bronx was, obviously Jackie Chan had been making movies a long time before that, but I know Rumble in the Bronx was a big part of that in the early 90s and stuff like that. I remember when that came out. But this is another one of those movies in that vein, and it is the 1989 Best of the Best.
You're darn right it is. I'm kind of excited to check this out again.
Yeah, I remember really loving this movie. But I will say, I was probably a little bit more of a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan at the time, so maybe I was a little bit bigger of a fan of like a kickboxer.
You mean he's not in this?
No, he is
Yeah,
not.
it's
He
Eric
is not.
Roberts.
It is
I
Eric
know
Roberts.
that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is Eric Roberts, who you don't necessarily think of as this type of star. You
No.
know what I mean? So yeah, it
Kind of makes me think the movie can't actually be good if Eric Roberts is the lead.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. That's an honest
Ouch.
opinion.
Okay. Well, you know what? Shots fired across the bow.
I mean,
with
name
Eric
something great
Roberts.
that he was ever the lead in. I
That
mean,
he was the lead in. Oh God, you're okay. Maybe you're right. But
yeah.
anyway, no offense to
No
Eric
offense,
Roberts, but I do remember James Earl Jones is in this movie.
Yeah, which is I mean, he's good. He's in a lot of good stuff.
Well, sure. Chris Penn is in this movie. I
That's
remember.
right.
The late
The
Chris
cowboy.
Penn.
He's
Yeah,
a cowboy
he's
in
like
this.
a cowboy guy. Yeah, I totally remember that. But yeah, I remember loving this movie a lot.
Do you
as a kid,
remember
either way.
any? The only beat I remember, like really remember, is the final. It's like the way this movie set up is like it's a team competition. So we have Team America versus Team
I think it's Korea.
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 Team Korea. So it's like Korea are the bad guys, and we have to overcome. And I just kind of in my mind's eye, I just see this shot of like going down the Korean team side, going down the American side, and it just being like, I got you. I'm going against you, and it's like it's going to be this.
Like it's
We have
tournament.
Yeah, it's some type
standard
of tournament.
Yeah, I
We have
remember.
no chance of winning as the American team, but
Right.
we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
That sounds about right. Yeah, there are a couple visual beats I remember, so I'm going to be curious to see how those play again.
Yeah.
But I remember liking Eric Roberts in this movie, so I'm going to jump out on a limb and I'm going to say I hope this is still as good as I remember for Eric Roberts' sake, because apparently in Ray's eyes, that's a
I hope so too.
Man.
I've got good feels. I'm just saying,
Man.
if history teaches us anything, then it would have taught me this movie's probably not going to be good. But I hope I'm wrong there.
All right. Well, we are going to find out whether this movie maybe was the best of the best
At the time.
at the time of this type of genre movie, or not. So this is the part of the podcast where we ask you to pause the podcast, go check out Best of the Best, come back, unpause the podcast, and find out if Ray and I still think this movie holds up.
Ray and Rob are currently watching the film. You may be also watching the film. If you're not, then you're listening to me say that Ray and Rob are watching the film. They'll be right back when they're done watching the film.
Well, we're back. We are back from Best of the Best. And I'm going to do something a little different
Okay.
for this episode of Hello Movies. And that is, I'm going to skip straight to the end.
Oh.
Because I have a feeling, I feel a very strongly one way about this movie.
Okay.
And I have a feeling you might as well.
I think I do.
So we're gonna get this out of the way right up front.
We're doing it backwards.
This is Best of the Best, and I gotta know, was this the best of the best of this kind of movie from that era?
No. This
No.
movie does not hold up.
No.
There's no gold medal here.
No. Wow. Okay. I had a feeling, so I figured instead of trying to hide this for the rest of this
would be
movie,
hard.
the
I
rest
think
of this episode.
This would be hard.
Yeah. I completely agree. I was shocked at how badly this movie did not age.
Calling it worst of the worst would be
For
too
me.
low-hanging fruit, and
Yeah.
maybe it's not. No, I can't do that because, there were a couple scenes where I remember the feels, but I'm not feeling them now.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that back.
Yeah, completely agree. I do remember some of the visual points like we've kind of had in previous movies, but yeah, did it ring true with that nostalgia of my youth? No, not at all.
No.
But I feel like what we can do now, instead of just wrapping this right now, is let's
short.
talk about what went wrong here. let's
keep it a little tighter than that because we might be here
we'll be a long time. Okay, but so one of the things for me, let's just jump right in on this topic. I think one of the things for me about this movie that just did not seem to ring true is the drama element.
So
I felt
bad.
the drama was either non-existent or incredibly forced.
Absolutely.
There was nothing natural about any of the drama in this movie whatsoever.
No, and then, because of that, all the characters' responses to the drama, just comes off really B-movie. All the monologues are bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. But, some of it just, it's, I guess you could say drama for the sake of being drama, though I didn't really find it to be all that dramatic. But, Alex's kid getting hit by a car.
Yeah. That whole sequence, that whole storyline was so bad.
It's so bad. I mean, if the guy Alex comes up to the coach, James Earl Jones, is like, "Coach, my kid he could be dead. They're going to cut off his leg. He got hit by a car. I got to go see him at the hospital." No.
Right? What?
You can't.
He might die. I don't care.
Are you picking your dead kid over our team?
Yes.
It's obviously
yes, that's going to happen. And I think, and even if you give it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, okay, well, obviously as an audience member, you're supposed to feel that way, and you're supposed to feel that way against James Earl Jones. The way that it plays out,
it's too over the top.
It's just, well, not even just too over the top, but it's it just the way the whole storyline plays out in that regard is so anticlimactic, because it's so he leaves.
Now he can never come back.
Right, and he can supposedly never come back. So he flies home, finds his kid, who he finds is in a coma.
He's in a coma. He could be in a coma for years.
It could be an hour. It could be a month. No, it's actually just 2
It's the next scene.
It's literally the next scene. He wakes up and he's like, "Oh, I crashed myself." Yeah, you did.
I know. I'm going to give us the Adrian moment from Rocky 2,
sure,
where she wakes up and she's like, "Win!" Give us a win moment, kid.
Right.
Walter's just laying there like a fish.
He's like, "Well, I got to get out of here, kid, and I got to rush right."
Grandma will take care of you. You're fine.
Right, and it's he is gone and back, begging for his spot. I would say within 36 hours.
I know. I mean, if it was the weekend, they might not even noticed he was gone.
Right, and then when when he gets back, James Earl Jones is just like, "Nope, you still can't do it," and he's like,
"You picked your kid.
You picked your kid. You can't come back." And then. What changes his mind? Chris Penn and the other two guys who you pretty much have forgotten about by this point are
who?
Right? We're nothing without him. You have to let him back. Oh.
Yeah.
I never thought that.
That's, Frank's thing is, it's Frank.
Yeah,
James Earl Jones, the coach. He's like, "I've got to find a way to get these guys to bond.
Right.
They've got to become teammates and love each other like brothers." And basically it's, "Hey, coach, don't kick Alex off the team for seeing his kid who almost died."
Right? It's almost
My God, I've done it.
I know you're going to know what I'm talking about, but it's like the assistant coach in Miracle.
Oh yeah,
Where you know exactly the moment I'm talking. The look and the nod.
Yeah, the look and the nod. And that was James Earl Jones' look and the nod. Where he's like, oh, I'm gonna have that revelation look for the audience. Like they're coming together.
Well, and the funniest part about it is in that first scene after they pick the team and they're all together, and James Earl Jones gives a decent speech because again he's probably the best actor of the bunch. Let's be honest. And
way overacting, though, I think, in this.
And yeah, I can give him that, but he's getting the gravitas, obviously. But there's a part in that speech when he's like, if you don't give a shit about each other, then you're not really a team.
Right.
During this whole thing with Alex, I'm like, why did nobody say that to him? Like, you don't care about him, then you're not a team.
Yeah.
We're not a team.
Right.
Well,
you don't care about him, coach.
You don't care about him. I'm like, what are you doing?
And also, he's like, I thought for a second when they kicked Alex off, he's like, get the alternate ready. And I'm like, there's an alternate?
There's an alternate?
I'm like, okay, like maybe if that was a character in this movie and I knew like he could get replaced, maybe there would feel some drama there. But I'm like, there is no alternate in my mind. So when like the three people, like this great bonding moment where they're like, don't kick Alex off the team, I'm like, well, yeah, because then we'd only have 4 and we need 5 to compete. So it might not even be that they're bonding. It might be like just the math, coach. We need a 5th guy.
Right.
Like,
absolutely. Well, and then there is the next layer of drama, which is Tommy and his dead brother, and the fact that he is coupled up with the guy that killed his brother.
He's got to fight Dahan, the guy that killed his brother.
And you find out later that Frank was the coach of the team of Tommy's brother that he died on.
And he knew Dahan killed his brother.
And like, how did how did Tommy not know that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was there. How do you not know that? I get he was a little kid and like whatever, but I'd find it hard to believe that he would not know that Frank was the coach of that team.
Right.
And like when you finally learn that, it's in kind of again one of these big kind of almost forced monologues where he reveals to Sally Kirkland like, oh, I was the coach, and because they failed, or because he died, I failed, or whatever. Yeah, because Tommy's brother died. Tommy's brother died because I failed. I wrote the line down.
Yeah, and I was too soft on him.
Right, and I'm just like, man, like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe that's just like one step too far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's one element that just like like where it just becomes too connected in that way. Unless it was something that you were very upfront about in the beginning.
Yeah, I think the problem is with the reveal of information because like we knew for like 20 minutes that Tommy was going to be fighting Dahan, and we saw Tommy's reaction when he found out he was going to fight Dahan, and he did not seem to care. Like, all right, maybe he's bearing it, but like I think we should have known that. Like I think we should have seen some little twitch. Like they should have given us some clue that like this matchup is intimidating with Tommy somehow.
Right.
I think with all of them, like they really don't invest any time in these matchups, and to me, like the whole ending of the movie is about these matchups. It's how these guys are going to fight each other. Like they should have built up this matchups and centered the training, which there's 1,000 training montages. Like center them around like how they're trying to individualize their approach to these matchups. Like that's even what I remembered about this movie coming back to it was like that it's this team matchup. It's this team karate thing. It's not like Karate Kid where it's one-on-one. It's like it is team points. And so I just don't think they did a good job. Like they didn't do a good job finding real drama there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like you said, the Korean team is essentially a terrible antagonist.
No, they don't do anything wrong.
They don't do anything bad. They don't do anything wrong. They're just good, I guess.
They're main,
and they're fine. It just, you know what I mean. It's not even like they're so good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in we've talked about Cobra Kai recently.
Yeah.
Like, in that last season when they were doing the Sekai Taikai, like obviously like the teams that were the antagonist teams were like built up to be these like unstoppable forces.
Right.
And they were trying to do that with the Korean team, but when they got on the mat, it really didn't feel that way.
No. And it's like in regards to like the Korean team like being like evil or whatever, like they tried to set that up through training montages of them working hard. Like it kind of felt like they were doing this Rocky IV thing where it's like the Asian team trains harder and more intense. So I'm like, but that's not a bad thing.
Right.
Like it's just like
it was actually the reverse of Rocky IV because in Rocky IV, Rocky's out in the snow and then here in this movie, it's the American team.
Exactly.
It's like
they're doing the harder training. They're doing the harder like more like grounded training. I'm like. This doesn't make me hate them, like, as if it's supposed to. The only thing that you hate them for is, Dahan killed Tommy's brother, but I'm like, he's gonna watch the clips. I'm like, I mean, it doesn't look like he did it. He didn't cheat to do it, you
Right.
know.
Definitely. Well, and even
He just
uh,
roundhouse kicked him.
right. And in the tournament, the one thing that's in the tournament that could be construed as like, oh, maybe he did, or one of them did something. It was when Alex's shoulder got hurt.
Yeah.
But his opponent it didn't appear like they did it on purpose.
No, he just kind of kicked
Right.
him, and
They didn't pull a crease where he like goes to the sidelines
the
and
leg.
right, and the coach is like sweep the leg.
and
Like,
if he did do it
nothing
on
like
purpose,
that.
they do a horrible job of setting that up because it doesn't necessarily appear like they did.
No, I don't think they did that at all. So yeah, as far as like an antagonist, I think they fell flat.
Yeah, they did fall flat.
Yeah.
And I think again, like we're trying to talk about this fake this fake drama they inject into the movie that does not work. But then they have parts like you just mentioned with Alex's shoulder, like potentials for real drama there that they don't do enough with. Like
Definitely.
they tell you in the first scene that Alex has a bad shoulder, where his mom says something, and I wrote this note. She's like, "You have a bad shoulder. If you go out there, you could be paralyzed." I was like, "No,
that's not connected in that way."
And that's Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched's not much of a nurse,
Yeah.
so let's be honest.
She's horrible. So anyway, but then they don't do anything with the movie until the very end where he gets kicked in the shoulder and it hurts.
Yeah.
But like they should have built up the whole movie that his shoulder was like hung on by a shoestring. Like if it
Right.
gets touched, it gets hurt.
Yeah.
Like because like we need to watch that fight and be like, don't get hit in the shoulder. You can win this if you don't get hit in the shoulder.
Right.
But there is no drama in his fight. I don't know if there's drama in any of the fights.
No, I completely agree. And going back to the shoulder bit, and this kind of ties into his storyline, Alex's storyline with his son. Part of me was wondering if it would have been more impactful if that board member guy that was kind of like lurking in a couple of scenes would have been what the cause of Alex not being able to come back. Because like in that first scene where it's like, all right, and like Tommy Lee Jones, James Earl Jones.
Tommy Lee is a character in this movie.
Tommy Lee, that's exactly where it's coming from.
I
Oh
know.
man, that is what it is. Where James Earl Jones's character gives this guy the list of the team, and he sees Alex's name. He's like, "You sure you want this kid? Saw him getting the crap kicked out of him a couple years ago. He's got a gimpy shoulder," and it's like.
We see the guy one more time after that.
Right, we see him one more time after that, and it's like, okay, well, maybe if you had made him the center of the drama of Alex not being able to come back, like he forced Tommy Lee Jones to not let him come back because he didn't want him on the team from the beginning.
Yeah.
I might have been able to buy into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it just felt so forced, and like you said, it's like they planted those seeds of drama and then never really did anything with it.
No, yeah. I think like the characters
impactful.
The characters get to like the right spots, but it never feels earned.
Yeah.
I
think for me it feels like just throughout this entire movie it's like they connected the dots. Like it was a connect the dots picture because it was so by the numbers. Like so much of this movie is by the numbers. It has the obligatory bar fight scene, all the training montages, the quirky characters of the team that have to come together, and the different personalities that have to gel. It has the tournament, all these things. And it's like they just connected the dots but didn't color in the picture.
Right.
It's like they didn't take that extra step. Like that's how it felt for me.
Yes, I agree. So here, let's switch gears. Let's maybe talk about the fighting because this is
what
martial
what
arts
this movie should be about.
Yeah. So for me, like when I thought of Best of the Best and I had these fond memories of it, it was the third act. It was the tournament.
Sure.
And it was like the American team versus the Korean team, and this is where like the movie earns its paycheck, and this is where where it really kicks ass. And I was waiting for that, right? Because like this whole movie, I was like, this isn't very good, but the third act will save it. That's what I remember anyway. But I don't think it did.
Yeah.
I didn't think the fight scenes were all that good or all that dramatic.
No, not at all. I think the best fight scene maybe was the bar fight, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, the moment when Alex is on the phone, and then he comes out, and he's walking through the bar, like storming the bar, and he just hits that one guy like it's nothing. Like, that I remember.
Right,
I was like, oh, man, I totally remember that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think the tournament felt very, like, wimpy, like, as far as, like, the fights go. And
I remember...
I'm sorry, the tryouts.
Yeah, the tryouts were very wimpy.
Was very wimpy as far as, like, as fight sequences go. And then... yeah, when you got to the final tournament, it just, like you said, I had it built up in my mind as a kid. Like, I remember these fights being really good, and then I'm just like, nah. Like the first two, they rushed through.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
and they lose. It's
yeah.
so it's so weird. I mean, I couldn't remember if they all won. I'm like, I guess they probably won't, but
Yeah.
it is weird that I guess it would be weird if you invested all these hours in this movie and then the dudes just lose. So
Yeah.
have the dudes lose that you kind of lose track of throughout the movie
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, like Sonny and Virgil, like it's funny because they actually lay some groundwork for them in the first act, where they
Yeah, they're
kind of have a bit
different
of a
enough.
character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they have a couple of funny lines. Like, I love their first interchange when they meet at the tournament, which is so funny. It's like, in that opening or the tryout tournament, and it's like, they kind of pair them up a little bit, except for Chris Penn, who's supposedly the loner anyway.
Right.
But it's like Sonny and Virgil and Tommy and Alex. So like Sonny and Virgil meet, and he's like, oh, they had the funny, like, I used to be Italian, but now I'm a Buddhist. Like,
Right.
I thought like Virgil's line was great, and then like even when him in the bar fight like was really funny, or like in the bar leading up to it where he like picked up the
Yeah.
girl or whatever. Like, I mean, again, like they tried, I think, in those moments to give those characters something. But then by the time they got to the training portion of the movie, they're
They're
gone.
done.
They're
They're
just
done.
gone.
Yeah.
So their fights mean nothing. There's no weight to it. It's
No.
just whatever.
Then I think once you kind of get the idea of like where the movie's going, you're like, all right, these two are just gonna get the crap beat out of them, and then there's gonna have to be this big comeback.
Right.
Now here, here's a little trivia for you, Rob, that I found out that's kind of cool. Of the 5 matchups at the end of the movie,
Okay.
one of those matchups has real life brothers fighting each other. Do you know who the real life brothers are?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it's Tommy and Dahan.
That's right.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb. Like, I mean, adoption is a thing. Like, obviously, like some of the guys could have been adopted brothers,
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say Tommy and Dahan.
No, Tommy and Dahan, the 2 Asian actors, are they are real life brothers.
Well, yeah.
So I thought it was I did think it was kind of cool. I would say that the part I liked probably the most about the movie, I still has holes, but like, at the very end of the movie, basically Alex, Eric Roberts, and Tommy get the team to come back and in position to win.
Right.
Like Tommy, again, the drama's not great because Tommy just beats the living crap out of Dahan.
Right.
And basically, he's at the point where he's like, if he punches him one more time, he kills him. He will die if he gets one more punch.
Yeah. I don't know.
And we're 2 points.
Right.
We're 2 points down, and then James Earl Jones says no. And Eric Roberts like, Coach, he's gonna kill him. Don't, Coach.
Like, you don't have to kill him. You can
Just
just get
tap
a,
him,
you
like,
just get
yeah.
a point. Like, maybe
Yeah.
go pop, pop. 2
Yeah.
points done. All right, we win. Yeah.
But instead
Yeah.
Tom. So again, I kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
That he doesn't try to kill him.
Yeah.
But then at the award ceremony, Dahan has his redemption moment where he gives the gold medal back, and he has a great
I was
speech
gonna
about.
say, is it redemption?
I don't know.
Like I said,
if he ever
I
needed
was going
it.
to say, did he
Yeah.
need redemption? I mean, I get it. Like, he accidentally, at this point, I'm going to say it was an accident.
Because he
Like,
seems like a pretty good
he
guy.
seemed like a really nice guy at the end.
and
there
not
was
that good
nothing,
of a fighter.
And there was nothing in the rest of the movie that made me question otherwise,
Yeah.
that he was really a okay guy. It was that he accidentally killed Tommy's brother in a
For all we
tournament.
know, it's actually killed him his whole life, and he says so. It's pretty much
Right.
like, I feel so bad.
Right? It's like, I offer you as my brother. And I'm like, okay, man.
But I love that. But I did like that moment with Dahan when he gives the gold medal back. Like, that was good sportsmanship. He's got
Yeah.
a good. But it was also an extra layer though that they are real brothers. I think when he's like, "You are my brother." I mean, they probably
Right.
loved filming that scene together. So
Yeah.
that's probably cool.
No, yeah, I don't disagree. It was kind of a way to lift up the ending a little bit
Yeah.
more.
And I get
Give it-
Alex getting a gold
give it a little
medal
bit of
handed
Rocky.
to him too, but the other 3, now you guys lost.
Right. It's like, you guys really did not do well. Yeah, and I think, I will give it I'll say Eric Roberts kind of overacted that scene a little bit
when
the
he
guys
blew out his shoulder.
at the
end?
we'll circle back to that. But yes, but when the guy gave him was like, oh, I know everything about you, and
Yes.
he's like, I mean, he is just
Yeah.
like blubbering, and then he's like, I know everything I need to know about you.
He literally says his name and where he lives. He's like, "That's all I need to know about you." I'm like, well, no, man. I actually have kids. I've got a whole life
I know
outside
a
of
lot,
karate.
yeah.
Like, well, I know where you live.
I know,
where you
right?
live.
I saw your file, man.
Yeah.
It had your name and your address. And
Yeah.
no reason. Like,
Yeah. He's like, I mean, like, this is a touching moment, but I feel like you just insulted the man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
circling back to
when
the
his shoulder
popped out. Yes,
because of course it's gonna pop, but it's like just screaming. It's like
Oh.
pop it, pop. It's
Like,
like, all right, just pop the thing.
And the way he was moving around I couldn't decide if it was super realistic or super overacted.
Super overacted.
Is that where we're gonna land?
I believe so.
We'll
I've
go
seen
with
people with
that.
their shoulder popped out, and they're scared to move because it feels like their shoulder is like going to fall off.
Like it's just so funny. Like he's like up and he's hopping around and like
Absolutely jumping
flopping
like
around,
yeah.
and I'm just like, oh boy.
No, you're hurt. No,
Pop
and then again, horrible drama because like so. Kind of a cool setup with his shoulder popped out. Like it's not like they pop it in and he's like, all right, I can do this. He like literally has his arm taped to his side. He's fighting like he's missing an arm basically.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. He's the one-armed man.
He's
Was
the
it me?
one-armed
Was the
man.
one-armed man?
And he's got to hold off his challenger for 30 seconds. Can he hold him off? And like,
Right.
great, like, excellent blocking. Like he's got to maintain these points.
Yep.
But no, he's actually better than ever now. And
he
like
knocks him out of the.
he knocks the
frickin'
opponent
ring.
out of the mat. And like the reason why 30 seconds pass is because the dude's dead. Like how in the heck did you guys get this so backwards? Oh
Yeah.
boy.
It was very interesting and
Well, here one more thing.
okay.
This tournament
Yeah.
for the gold medal.
Yeah.
Did they have other rounds, or was it only 2 teams that were there?
I know. I know.
'Cause
It's that
it's
same
like-
thing. It's like there's no other countries competing
Yeah,
except
it's
for
just
U.S. and Korea.
yeah. They don't like it's just Korea and U.S. So I'm like, yeah, they've said how this like the Korean teams won all the gold medals. I'm like, well, are they only fighting one opponent every year? Like
Yeah.
that's not that impressive.
Yeah, and it's like, how did you qualify to get here?
Yeah.
Like you just got on the team and the team was just going. It's like okay,
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know.
They did. Yeah, I
It's
don't.
very weird.
Just skip all that.
Yeah, but I will say, as far as the fight sequences and stuff go, one thing that I definitely think hurt them and the movie in general, but definitely the fight sequences, was the soundtrack to this movie was terrible.
80s music
It
at
was
its worst.
Worst. Oh my god! And I honestly think that that's half of the reason, maybe more, why the fight sequences felt so flat. Is the music was horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another reason why I think the best fight scene was the bar fight, because they actually had like thumping music,
Yeah,
like during
yeah.
during the fight. It's like okay, you think of something like Karate Kid, they had killer music playing
Oh yeah.
like during the
I'm the best
right.
around.
Well, yeah. I mean, that whole tournament sequence was that, and
Yeah.
it just makes it work. And
You know that you could tell they really wanted to use that song.
Oh, sure.
But they're like they have to have their own song that says the best
Of the best.
I'm
We're the
like,
best.
okay.
of the best.
Yeah, it's one
Best
of
of
those.
the best of the best of the best. We're the
It's-
best.
Yeah, that would actually be better than what they had. But like it was that 80s song where like they're literally singing what's happening on screen. It's kind of like riding your motorcycle down the
It's a
lonely
Randy
street.
Newman
Yeah,
song,
very
if I
much.
remember
It was-
correctly. No, I'm
It
just
was
kidding. I
so.
love Randy
It was
Newman.
distractingly bad though. It was distractingly
Something
bad.
like that.
That's a Family Guy joke.
But yeah, no, it's unfortunate because as we take this journey, it is unfortunate that we run into these things where we have a movie that we remember so fondly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I mentioned it in the before. This came out in a spate of movies. I mentioned, I was probably more of a Kickboxer fan than maybe I was a Best of the Best or Bloodsport, or myriad of other rip-off movies like that. I guarantee you, if I went back and watched 90% of them, would be terrible. now.
Yeah, they'd be just as bad.
I'm just gonna, so as a redemption olive branch to Best of the Best, I'm gonna say, I don't think you're alone here. Like, I think this is just kind of the tenets of the genre at the time,
Yeah.
where they were just kind of like churning these movies out and kind of creating stars.
Yeah.
Obviously Jean-Claude Van Damme was very much part of that, where it was like, he's basically created in these I'm going to call it B-movie martial arts movies,
Yeah.
but again, I'm not trying to be pejorative in that way, because I love B-movies a lot of times. But I
When
think
they're on purpose, too,
right,
especially.
yeah. But yeah, obviously I have not watched those movies in a long time, but I don't know about you, but I feel like I would not enjoy them probably as much as I did at the time.
Right. Maybe more than this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
All right, Rob. Well, we have to, much like Eric Roberts' shoulder, wrap up this conversation
Wow.
on Best of the Best. And as we do, this is usually where we ask the audience to please take this opportunity to like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, review the podcast. If you leave us a 5-star review, we're going to read it live on air someday. Remember, you can email us at carrayrob@gmail.com. Ask us whatever you want, and reach out to us on Blue Sky at carrayrob.
Absolutely. If there is a comment section on whatever platform you're on, let us know what you think of Best of the Best. If you still love Best of the Best, that is not wrong.
Talk us
There is
into
no
it.
wrong answer. But maybe you also disliked it. Maybe let us know what your favorite martial arts movie from the 80s, 90s was. You know, we'd love to be able
Karate
to.
Kid Part 2, but
I mean, there you go. You know, something it might be, but it might be something else. We will be back next week
yes, we will.
with the first episode of June of Say Hello to My Little Film.
That's going to be your episode. Are you ready?
And it will be my episode. I am definitely ready. I've got something I am very, very excited to show you. It's very seasonal.
Ooh.
Just as a little hint. But you are not going to want to miss that. We will be back in 2 weeks with a second episode of our brand new podcast, A Copy of a Copy. And you are definitely not going to want to miss that. But until then, this is Car Ray Rob.
Where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob. And remember, be defined by the films you love, not the ones you hate. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. Hello, movies.